This is KZUM Lincoln and KZUM HD, and you're listening to Intertribal Beats. We appreciate everybody out there, all the listeners, even the ones that like to give us constructive criticism.
I know.
Send in your mail and tell us what we're doing wrong. People know I was compassionate. People know I have a good heart, but people that could look at it from like a criminal record standpoint might not see that. People from that standpoint might look at me and say, oh, he's a criminal, and once a criminal, always a criminal. But criminals don't like grow up saying, oh, you know what I want to do in life? I want to be a criminal. They want to just be successful, just like everybody else. I had a very abusive childhood. I was born in Compton, California, and I moved back to Pine Ridge, South Dakota when I was in between 6 and 7. We moved there when I was 6, and then we went back to Compton for a few months, and then we finally settled in Pine Ridge at 7. One of the problems with moving back to the reservation is there's not a lot of housing. So we kept having to find places that were like shacks that didn't have running water or electricity. My mom's always been around, but she's never been like my parent. She's kind of been more of my like big sister, that like a big dysfunctional sister kind of deal. And it was hard, you know. It was hard on me to see my mom not really want me. But really, she was just dealing with her own problems, you know. And now I take care of my mom. I still have some conflicting issues with my childhood and thinking, you know, about how I was raised and who I was raised by, because I don't know who my father is too. I don't know what his name is. I don't know what he looks like. I don't know who he was. When I was 15, I moved to Lincoln. I was still going to the Sundance, and I had to finish my obligation, which is 4 years. So when I was 16, I went back and I finished my obligation, and then after that, I cut my hair off. But I had already started fighting as soon as I got here. That's basically how I became popular, was because of me fighting. And so the people I became popular with were kind of like the thuggish type guys, and then I ended up going to a lot of parties and getting fed alcohol a lot. That's when I became an alcoholic, and that's when I started getting into crimes and kind of being led down this path that I really didn't even want to choose. Like I wanted to fit in, I wanted to be popular for once, and I wanted to have a different life, but yet only options I had for power was to be someone who was dangerous. I met these guys, and they were all kind of thuggish guys, and they talked me into doing this robbery, and we robbed amigos. My first years of adulthood were in prison. That was the point where everything switched. So it was really like good that all happened. I just decided at that point, I'm done drinking. I'm not gonna drink anymore. I kept telling myself before that I didn't have a problem, but after that I realized, like, you know what, if I keep down this path, I'm just gonna be in a cage the rest of my life. I knew that I had more potential than that. I didn't know how far I could go, but I knew that I could be a lot more productive and I could be a lot more of a positive impact on the world than I was. That's when I quit drinking, and that's when I started to research what it took to become successful for me. You know, and that was like a passion for me at that point. I've been back in Lincoln for about a little over 4 years now, or about 4 years. And I've gotten to the point where I own 2 small businesses. I own the duplexes, 2 duplexes that my family's been renting for 25 years. I'm a radio host. Did you know I was in the newspaper today?
Oh yeah, for saving the cat?
The lady who wrote the story actually made it sound so interesting. Like I was reading it like, oh man, this lady's like, she writes like a novelist.
That you like branch by branch by
right.
saving that cat? No.
Every branch that he accelerated up the tree, you could hear. I'm a community leader. I do fundraisers for people that are suffering. I'm an international speaker. Today we're going to talk about the Dakota Access Pipeline and the Standing Rock movement that is happening in America right now. My main role in Standing Rock was basically like I conveyed information from Standing Rock to the cities of Omaha and Lincoln and even surrounding areas to gather up supplies and support for Standing Rock. So whenever I'd go to Standing Rock, I'd find out what everybody needed there, what they were struggling with, and then I would come to this area and I would tell everybody over the radio, and I would tell everybody through social media, and then people would contact me who had resources to donate, or people who wanted to go. And so some people were like, I got a truck, or I got a van, I want to go. And then other people were like, I don't have a ride, but I want to go. And at that time, they were like, anyone who can come, please come. At first, I didn't think I had a very big impact on the people that I was coming and bringing these supplies to. But at the end, when they were breaking down the teepees and they were moving stuff out, I was actually gifted a teepee. You can see the rips on the bottom there. When they were digging out the teepee out of the snow and ice, this was supposed to be up off the ground a little bit, but we didn't realize it was up under the ground. My biggest problem is I'm not sure the best way to repair it, because I've never done it myself before, and I want to make sure it's done right the first time, because I want this thing to last past my lifetime, so I could pass it on to my daughter and she can pass it on to her children, and it can be a part of me and a part of Standing Rock that passes on to generation to generation. Anytime somebody needed me, I was always trying to be out there for them. It just got to the point where people started to notice me more because of it, and people started calling on me more, and then people started pushing me to do bigger things. It just kind of fell in my lap. Being a public speaker, somebody asked me to go to the school and talk to their class one day at UNL, and I did that, and I loved it so much. And the next thing you know, they're connected to Sweden, to Lund University in Sweden. So Sweden contacts someone at UNL, Lori Dance, and says, is there any natives that could come to Sweden and talk to us about what's happening with the natives and with Standing Rock? And I was the first person she thought of, and she contacted me, and I went over there, and I mean, I got standing ovations. I made people cry, I made people laugh. One of the first things we did was we called a flash mob. So we were at this school, and I did my presentation, and then afterwards we were talking about taking a picture with the people that were there and putting on the sign that said, Gothenburg stands with Standing Rock. You know, that was the city we were in. And we were going to do it on every stop along the way. You know, whatever city we were in, we were going to put that they stand with Standing Rock. And I did this song to get everybody's attention, and then I asked the people that were in this like college commons area if they would stand with us. Maybe 150, 200 people like came and stand behind us, and were like, we stand with Standing Rock, and we stand with Standing. It was so cool. They realized how important Standing Rock was because the whole world was watching. Our people were the ones that colonization, like the blueprint for colonization was created with. And now they use it for every other indigenous group on the planet, you know, when they want to go in and devastate a group and rape the land of its resources. Us resisting now and standing up is like the blueprint for the rest of the world to like wake up and be on the side of the environment.
Way